Hey, before you watch this thing, hit subscribe, would you?
I took my kids skiing one time. I said, I'm going to take Sophia and Georgia skiing. They were 8 and 10 or 7 and 9, something like that. And she said, "You are?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do it. I've seen you do it." Oh my God. I wrote a thing about it. It was a disaster. It was such a disaster.
How could it not
be? How could it not be?
One person? One man?
Person, 2 kids, yeah.
Who doesn't do it that often?
First time, I learned from the best. And so just like Felicity did, we set up their clothes the night before. I laid them all out on the floor.
Sure.
I got up early, gave them breakfast. We got to the mountain. When we finally got in the car, they said, "I'm hungry." And I looked at the clock. We'd started at 8 a.m. I had to pull back into the driveway and give them lunch. We got to the mountain with about enough time to do 2 runs.
Yeah. And was that easy?
No, they were mad at me. I was mad at them. They're still mad at me about that. Apparently, I call them numbnuts. They were fighting in the back, and I said, "Will you numbnuts shut up?" They were mad, and I finally said, "Okay, your mom wouldn't have done that, right?" And she said, "No." I said, "Would they have what would she have done?" And they said, "She would have figured out how to stop fighting." I said, "Well, that's not going to happen with me because your fights are so boring. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just find it boring." I was a little too honest with my kids.
Was that a common thing?
Being too honest? Yeah. Yeah. Sophia one time came in and she was despondent. She said, I have so much homework. I have all this homework. I can't get it done. And when I get it done, then there's another day. And I said, "Honey, get used to it. This is life. It's not going to get better." And she said, "Why would you say that to me? Why would you say that?" So I thought, okay. And I took her over and we took a long walk and we talked about life and we talked about this. And I said, "Listen, I'll write you a note. Go back, do an hour of homework, and I'll write and say you got sick. I'll get you out of school, or I'll write you an excuse." She said, "Thank you, thank you." She went into her room for 30 minutes. She came out and she said, "It's done." I said, "No, do it all." She said, "I did it all."
You think it was just reframing it for her?
I think she lost her shit, and she had 30 minutes worth of homework to do, and she described it as 4 hours and this treadmill. And I was smart enough not to say anything, but
you strike me as a guy that's probably too honest fairly often.
Yeah, I'm blunt.
Do you think that had an effect on the amount of friends you have?
I'm sure I've said things that cost me a friendship. They just drift away. But
yeah, what do you think people say about you? Like, what do you think your people that don't like you say about you?
I don't know. I'm on social media, but I never read what anyone says.
I don't mean like audience. I mean like people you know.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard that I'm really rough and I don't fight fair. Early on, every once in a while I'd come back. My good friend Greg Mosher, who ran the Goodman in Chicago and then Lincoln Center, innocently said, "Billy, I figured out why directors find you so difficult to work with." And I don't know what he said after that because my ears were ringing. I had no idea that was my reputation, but it was. The aforementioned doing everybody's job except my own, it was that.
Do you think there's something honorable about it?
No.
Okay, so you're just like, no, these are character flaws and full stop.
Well, I guess I'm not being honest. No. There's a big thing in my family. We talk about this. If you got to say, "You're fired," how do you do it? And the female way, perhaps, certainly the women I know begin with, "Hi, how you doing? How the kids? Listen, we've been to," and I say that's not the way to do it. You say, "Hi, you're fired," and then you do the nice stuff. Lead with the hard thing, because everybody knows they're being played. How are you? You look good. You lost weight, didn't you? Listen, we've been thinking about, and it's not you. We've been thinking about. They know they're being played, and I find it personally outrageous. I would much prefer, hey, we're going to fire you, and here's why, and then get all the good stuff, and maybe then I can hear it, and maybe even believe some of it.
I think I'm with you, but I don't want the second part. Just go, I'm fired. I go, okay. It's like, people, it's when you break up with somebody, you go, we're going to still be friends. It's like, no, you're not. This is over. I may never see you again. Isn't that fucking weird?
No. It's when they say, it's not you. It's
no,
me.
Yeah.
You know you're fine.
Yeah. Just hit it. Don't you want me to feel good? Subscribe.